All right, so today we're going to talk about chicken coops, and something we've talked about often in our past videos. You can go back and see all kinds of videos that we've done on our chicken coops. And I think coming up, we're going to do a tour, especially probably for the patrons, on our chicken coop and the setup that we have with our quail now. I think a lot of people have been asking for this, and it's been time, taking the time to go out and do it for you guys. But we'll do that. But there was a post on Twitter this last week on chicken coops, and I wanted to bring it into here on our main channel and talk about it, and talk about some of the agreements and disagreements that I had with the post. How much should you spend on chicken coops, on a chicken coop? The main baseline that I just want to go over here, and I'll get this out of the way right from the very beginning, and I tell this to everyone: your chicken coop must be like Fort Knox. Everything at night comes out and wants a chicken dinner. Everything out there walking around at night on four legs wants to eat your chickens, okay? And a lot of things during the day as well. You got hawks and all kinds of different things. So with that being in mind, you want to keep in mind that, yes, your chicken coop needs to be like Fort Knox. I have seen time and time again where people piecemeal a chicken coop together, throw some chickens in it, and come out the next morning and they're all dead. Or they're gone, just missing somewhere, or there's parts of them laying around. There's been a chicken slaughter. Why? It's because your chicken coop was not like Fort Knox. That's first and foremost everything you need to know when it comes to keeping chickens. Even if you're in the suburbs, okay, but definitely if you're in the rural areas. Let's go ahead and get into this post and we'll talk about it. So I don't follow this guy, Miles Daly, but he posted this and it just came up on my feed, obviously because I talk about these sorts of things. Imagine spending that amount of money on your coop. Now, it doesn't say in the post, I believe this was a capture of a video of a chicken coop, and it looks like a very nice coop where they talked about how much money they spent. So I couldn't find a link to that exact video. It says, you got chickens to save money on eggs, only to realize they have to lay 5,000 eggs to cover the cost of the coop alone. Now, stop right there. You're assuming that that's the intended goal of the person who has created the coop in the first place. If you're doing this for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Okay, if you're doing this, if I'm going to have chickens in order to save money, you're completely off base from the very beginning. Okay. What you're talking about here is food security. Is it worth it to you to ensure food in the coming days, weeks, months, and years? Okay. Do you want to have eggs? Do you want to have protein coming up in the days ahead? If that's the case and you want that, well then okay, fine. This looks like a very nice coop. And so I'm just looking at it. It looks like it's secure. I mean, I don't know. I can't walk around it and check it. But it looks like it's fabricated. Someone maybe built it on plans, or maybe someone just, piecemealed it together from, a trip to Lowe's and got all the right stuff they needed. But it looks secure. I think ours is more secure. I've done videos before on this in the past. You need to bury, wire. You need to bury metal so that something can't dig underneath here. All of these things need to be, all this wire right here needs to be securely in place, because raccoons and other animals will try to punch through that at night if they can. If they can see any sort of weakness, they will push through this. Just staples holding this, on there, unless they're really good staples, will not do. Everything is going to try to get into this coop at night to see if they can get a chicken dinner. So some of the comments, let's go through the comments. Is I have this is the guy who posted it, who's not happy with this guy spending whatever money they spent on this. He says, I have an 8x16 coop that I've spent about $200 on. It's not pretty, but who cares? It keeps the predators out and the chickens in. Well, now that's the case. If that's the case, that's fine. If it really works and you can keep the predators out, that's good. Okay, that's your main goal. Your main goal. Now, I think there's something to be said when it comes to having a chicken coop that looks nice and looks organized, because I think organization is a big thing. And we're going to talk more about that on the channel coming up. How to organize a homestead, what it means to have an organized homestead. That's very important. If you want a functional homestead, I think you should have an organized homestead, and we're going to talk about that coming up. Anyway, back to this. It says, let's just go through some of these comments. This guy here, William, says, I got chickens to lay eggs so that I will have food after the zombie horde loots out the grocery store. Correct. You're looking for food security. And he responds with, yeah, that's the ultimate goal, but building a chicken palace won't help keep the zombie hordes at bay. Now, wait a minute. Are you trying to keep the zombie hordes at bay? See, that's your job. Okay, your job is to protect the chickens from the zombie hordes. The coop's job is to keep all the predators out. So I think we have a mismatch of goals here. Growing Back to the Land responds with, do you know what a coop is worth when no one has eggs? Yes, the same value as my coop. The only difference is I spent $500 less. I spent less than $500 on it. Yes and no. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you spend on it. Does it work? Does it keep the predators out? So again, this guy has it right. He's talking about food security. All right, let's go to the next comment. This guy here has it right too, I think. Oh, I splurged on my coop and don't really care. The point wasn't about saving money for eggs. It was about having a food source when it hits the fan. But you can do that without splurging, surely. No, well, I mean, yes, you can. You can go out and find a whole bunch of recycled materials, which is what this guy's point is. This guy's whole initial post is about finding recycled, throwaway materials and putting together an effective coop. Can you do that? Yes, absolutely. We're going to look at his coop in just a second, so stick around. I have some definite thoughts on that. Still worth it, in my opinion. I'd rather have my own eggs than the crap you get at the grocer, which I agree with. Guys, food security is number one about making sure you have food when others may not have food, but also the quality of food. I know that the eggs at the store are cheaper. I know that you can go get them, with a lot more ease and it's way cheaper than going through all the expense and all the trouble of building your coop, but you're getting a better quality and you're getting insurance that other people will not have. That's the goal. So he responds with 100, but no need to get extravagant on the build like many people seem to do. Well, I think, again, I disagree with that. I'll talk about that in a second. Here it says, we have a similar coop, but my husband dug a trench 6 inches all around the coop, filled it with concrete and sank the wire walls in the trench to prevent critters from digging into the coop. 80 bags of concrete mix. He also built a heavy wooden door that bears won't tear through. And he responds with, I'm doing the trench too. I haven't quite got around to that yet. Uh-oh. See, that's the thing. When you build a quality coop, you're going to build a secure coop. A secure coop and quality go hand in hand, because if you're missing one, you have failed. Okay, you have to have a quality, secure coop. Okay, just piecing things together that animals can tear through, because if they can, they will. You have lost the game. Okay. Now let's look at some of the pictures of the coops. There's one here. It looks like a nice coop. It's kind of far away, but you can see it. I mean, it looks nice. It looks probably like it's secure, but it looks nice. Someone, whether they made this with reclaimed materials or store-bought materials, it looks nice, and I think that's important. I'll get to that in a second. And of course, he responds with, "Oh, you fancy," and with a laughing icon. Okay, so now we're getting into his coop. Let's take a look at his coop. Now, listen, guys. I'm not gonna. If it works, it works. Okay, you do what you can do. I get it. And if you're living off grid, if you're trying to pinch pennies and you're only looking for reclaimed throwaway materials, that's fine. But I can just let me do a play-by-play on this real quick. Number one, it looks like it's all particle board. Okay, in the weather, that's going to fall apart. It's only a matter of time before the weather takes its toll on that particle board and the animals rip through that. A raccoon will eventually rip through that. Ask me how I know. We had, I think, one of our doors originally on our guinea coop. I have to check with Tim on it, but I think it was made with some sort of material like this, and the weather eventually took its toll, and a raccoon ripped through that door on our guinea coop and had some guinea, dinner. Some of our guineas were pulled through it. I think I had to dislodge a leg from a dead guinea out of it. Anyway, that right there, I know that's throwaway material. I know it was free probably or cheap, but that is not good. Leave a comment below if you agree or disagree. Now, it looks fine. Maybe it's secure, but it's only secure now. I don't think that's going to be when weather takes its toll. There's a space right there in that door. I can look at where you can see my cursor. That looks. Let me see if I can zoom in. No, it's not going to let me zoom in anymore. Anyway, that looks dangerous right there. And there's something to be said for a coop that looks fancy, that looks good. Guys, you want your homestead to look good. I want my homestead to look like a park. Okay, I do. I want to be able to look out on my homestead and not see junk laying everywhere, and not see trash just needlessly laying around. And I have some work to do. I have some places around my homestead I need to work on and get cleaned up. Even on my front porch, sometimes I'm embarrassed to say looks horrible. But it's just, I think that I like the idea of looking at my homestead like a park. People come to our homestead and say, Zach, you have a really nice place. I'm like, thank you. We work hard at making it a very nice place, making it organized, making it look picked up. But listen, I've been to third world countries. Okay, this looks like a shack that someone in a third world country would live in. And I want my chickens, not that I want my chickens to be a bunch of princesses. I want to enjoy the things around my homestead and how they look, and feel accomplished about the things that we have built here. And Tim works very hard at making our buildings and making things look attractive, and making them look nice. And I appreciate that. I think that you're going to listen, and this is going to be what I talk about in a future video. An organized homestead is a productive homestead. Okay. I have driven by homesteads, that look like junkyards, that look like literal junkyards. And do they produce food? Do they produce, gardens? And can they raise? Yes, they can do all those things. But I think you're going to be much more effective if you're organized and things look picked up and things look put away, and you can try to maintain what you have in that way. Leave a comment below and tell me I'm wrong. I know, listen, there was an old saying that we have gotten away from in modern 21st century America. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Okay? We have gotten away from that. And when you look ragged and dirty and unkept and not well put together, you can be poor, okay, and still look put together. You don't have to be rich to be put together. I just think that it says something. Let me know again if I'm wrong in the comments. It's okay to disagree with me, but I think it's okay to be poor, and not have a lot of money, because we've been there. I'm telling you, the first year we lived off grid, we ate beans and rice for every meal. Okay, we did not have extra money for, some of the nicer things. We had no money. We were pinching it with everything we did. And it got tight, and it got, hectic at times. But you can still look put together and organized. Again, love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. This may work for you, but it won't work for me. I want something that looks nicer. I want something that's higher quality. And if that means spending some money, or if that means starting off smaller and then expanding, the chicken coop that we have today, this ginormous chicken coop that we have today, was not the chicken coop that we started with. We started with smaller, and we started, with, it was a lot less. And then we expanded, and then we expanded again. I mean, I think probably Tim has expanded, 4 or 5 times, and added on to what we have, and made different changes, and now we have these solar lights out there and all these things that we've managed to put together. We didn't start off with what we have now. We worked at it. We started off small, and then we built up as we went, but we built up in quality. Okay. We did it with quality and with security in mind, so that we can maintain our food security. All that to say, what should you spend on a chicken coop? My final opinion is it doesn't matter. You can spend as little or as much as you want. Your biggest thing you have to keep in mind is security. Are you going to keep your chickens secure? It's food security. You're going to pay more. Listen, most of the stuff in the store is garbage today. It's complete and total garbage. It's poisons. It's not raised well. You've seen those videos online where they're running these baby chicks, all these chickens, through this conveyor belt. They're alive through this conveyor belt, and they have people working and then shooting, vaccines into them. Okay. Those are the kinds of chickens that are laying your eggs. Okay. They're vaccinated. Every single one of those things. Those are what's laying your eggs in the store. Who cares if you're paying 5 times as much per egg? based on all of the feed cost and all of the chicken coop cost and all the things you're doing, you're getting a better quality egg, and that's worth it to me. I will pay for that happily. You know, I want food security and I want food quality. Okay, because I care about what I put into my children, because I don't want them to grow up and be sterile. And we've seen the reports of all of these studies that are done where sterility for children is in the toilet because we eat garbage foods. It's got to be part of it. Plus all the chemicals and all the other stuff in our environment today that's just absolutely insane. So I'm trying to limit as best as possible all of these things that can be damaging to me and my family. Okay. Again, what do you think? I think, again, the number one thing is security. Chickens need to be secure. We'll end it with that. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Long video today. You guys out there, our patrons, we're still giving away these books. Thank you for joining our Patreon over at patreon.com/American Homestead. These are the herbal extract books when it comes to tinctures, how to use them, why to use them. It's not how to make them. You can find all kinds of videos out there about that. But this is about the stuff that the pharmacy companies have been trying to remove, okay, from, existence. This stuff was written over 100 years ago. Okay, by this guy. It's out of print, out of copyright. If you buy these books on Amazon, you're going to pay like $800 for one and $900 for the other. I'm giving them to everyone who joins my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Join my Patreon, even if you're doing it just for the books. Fine. I want to get this information out there. That's the whole point. Most of my patrons have downloaded these. A lot of them have went ahead and just made hard copies, printed them out, because that's what we need. We need this information back into our culture. This was the companies, the pharmaceuticals worked very hard to get this information removed. And the reason they're so expensive today, if you buy hard copies on Amazon, is because of the information contained within. It's very, very valuable. It works. Okay. Anyway, you can get that. Join Patreon for $1. If you join at higher levels, I really appreciate it. You get more perks. In fact, we're getting ready to give away this week. We're going to give away this solar generator probably on Sunday. I'm going to do a review on it tomorrow, hopefully, and get that up. And then we're going to give it away to one of my patrons coming up Sunday. But I love to give away these solar generators. These are absolutely fantastic when it comes to powering your home or refrigerators or freezer in an emergency, or especially emergency communications, which we've been talking about recently on my Patreon page. Lots of great stuff over there on our Patreon page. Also, speaking of chickens, on our Patreon page, you can go to AmericanHomestead.com, go to our patron page up there in the main menu, and scroll down. You can find what I would recommend, the easy, cheap, free ways to feed your chickens post-collapse. That's only available to our patron members who are joining, and lots of other videos. I post some of the most important videos over at that patron page over at AmericanHomestead.com. All right. Check out our merchandise over at teespring.com. You can find our Stupid Should Hurt shirt. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful, awful lot less stupid. It's our best-selling shirt of all time, mostly because it's true. All right, see you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead.
And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait,